We recently spoke to Mark Cunningham about how he gets all of his inspirations and all his great levered up ideas from outside the property management industry. And that got me thinking about how every time I ran into somebody in a conference and I'm carrying around my Liquid Death water bottle, I have this like 32 ounce Liquid Death water bottle, like refillable water bottle. People pull me over, they're like, oh my God, I love that brand, it's so cool. And I'm always like, I've bought maybe 2 cans of Liquid Death in my life. I've drank maybe 6 cans of it, but I own like $300 worth of merch of Liquid Death. And the story of this business is the reason why. It is a master class in radical differentiation as a strategy in a completely undifferentiated space. Water, where there's big Pepsi and Coke brands and historical brands like Evian and Perrier and stuff like that. And it's free everywhere. These guys have built this like multi-billion-dollar business in a very short amount of time through the strategy of radical differentiation. And I sat down with Mark Brower right before we crossed the Grand Canyon. We were talking about hydration in the summer, right? Pretty apropos to crossing the Grand Canyon. And he also did the same thing. He's like, oh my God, Liquid Death. I was like, dude, do you know about this business? So we had this awesome conversation about differentiation. What's the difference between just being different for the sake of different versus as a strategy? The story behind Liquid Death, how you can apply these principles of differentiation in your business. And we talk a lot about category design, which is something I'm super nerdy about and I know I talk about a lot. So enjoy this conversation. You're going to be able to take stuff from this conversation and add this to your business on differentiating and using it as a strategy so that you no longer feel like a commodity. Enjoy this conversation about Liquid Death with the great Mark Brower. Welcome to the Property Management Frame Breakers podcast. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez, and I am here to introduce you to the folks in the property management space that have broken the frame of what you may believe was possible. This podcast is presented by Vendoroo. It is your all-in-one AI solution for resolving your maintenance needs. Let's go. You saw my water bottle. Oh. You were like, I love Liquid Death, bro.
Dude,
tell me more. What do you know about Liquid Death?
Okay, let me tell you how Liquid Death and I met.
Yeah, please.
Okay, this is a spot in the desert in the McDowell Mountains, which is north of Fountain Hills here. Mm-hmm. Beautiful spot of desert. Every year in October, they host a race called Javelina 100. Javelina, spelled with a J, right? Mm-hmm. That's this wild pig beast that we have out here in the desert. Okay. 100 also spelled with a J. Mm-hmm. See what they did there? Mm-hmm.
It's in Spanish.
Yeah, it's Spanish 100. So Javelina 100, they have like the day before, it's the bib pickup. When you race, you get a race bib, you kind of check in, you get your merch, you get your bib, you take your picture, and there's sponsors and there are vendors there. People make money on this stuff, right? So 4 years ago, the first time I ran my first 100K race, I'm moving through the tents, I'm getting my bib, whatever, and then all of a sudden there's this big tent right after you come out of the main tent where you got your bib. There's this other tent, and there's just pallets and cases of this what looked like alcohol.
Yeah, by design.
And I'm like, dude, I can't drink this. I don't drink, And then everybody gets one. And they're like, no, dude, it's water. And I look at it, I'm like, this is not water. My brain's telling me this is alcohol. Yeah. You're telling me it's water. I read the label, of course. Mm-hmm. And as I'm reading the label, of course, I'm seeing all the brilliant marketing, the words on there, murder your thirst, and like all this stuff. Yeah. And like, holy crap, they're in the middle of the desert with cases, like a tower of this stuff, stacked on the desert floor for people who are about to run between 60 to 100 miles tomorrow. And it's Liquid Death. This is like so brilliant. Like, how did they get this here in front of me? And I'm drinking this for free, and I was hooked.
How long ago was this?
This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago. So kind of when they were first getting started.
Yeah,
that
probably.
Makes a lot of sense. So just coming out of COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So cool, man.
My first time seeing Liquid Death was I just saw a case of it at Whole Foods, and I was like, what kind of idiot made this? Like, what kind of idiot buys this? What kind of idiot makes this? What kind of idiot put this on the shelf at Whole Foods?
This is water.
That was my original. I was like, whoa, Liquid Death, what an idiot, right?
Why did you think they were idiotic? Like, what was the?
it just seemed so
So
unnecessary.
like you're overhyping water. This is what's wrong with the world. You're overhyping water. This stuff is free. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Like I was just, I just did not relate to it at all, right? Like I was, I don't know, man. I had a real adverse reaction to it. What do you know about it now? Before I just go into like...
The only other thing I know about it, I guess it's a brainchild by, some like really, I can't remember. You're going to tell me like who the marketing, the brains behind this was.
Yeah, Mike Cesario is the founder.
Mike Cesario, okay. Recently, I'm on LinkedIn and I see this video.
Yeah.
And it's from the director of marketing or some woman that's like a young mom. Dude, it's just the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. You know what she does? She shows her baby. First of all, I'm connecting with her. She's a young mom. Like, I'm not a mom. I'm not a young mom. I have had kids, though. And so I see this baby. She cracks open a liquid death, pours it in her formula, bottle formula machine. Shows her baby before. Cute little baby. Shows, actually mixes up a bottle with liquid death as the water base. Gives it to the baby. Have you seen this video?
No,
dude, it's brilliant. It is so brilliant. Next thing you know, cuts to the baby is full sleeved in tattoos. It's got sunglasses. It's like somehow she got his hand like on the ground flipping the camera off. Like it's like rock music. It's it's like this is exceptional.
It's incredible.
And like somehow, and then she's done this other marketing where it's like pregnant moms. Who can't drink alcohol
that was the Super Bowl
anymore.
Ad. That was the Super Bowl ad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was like a bar for like pregnant moms. Yeah. And the ID is a sonogram for you to like get in. Yeah. The Liquid Death is an exercise in radical differentiation, unlike anything that I have ever seen, right? And if you look across their entire business model, there's probably about like 7 or 8 different levers inside the business model that are radically different from everything else. And they've become in 3 years, they got to a $1 billion valuation.
Selling water.
As a water brand. and the only CPG, consumer packaged good brand, to cross categories without losing momentum. Meaning, they went from water to tea and to like flavored seltzer stuff. Right? Like without losing momentum.
Wow.
Red Bull was not able to launch a cola. Coca-Cola was not able to launch an energy drink. They tried. It doesn't work. So people talk about Liquid Death as this case study in branding.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, it's way more than branding. This is true category design, right? Like this is...
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
So category design is essentially...
Cola was a category.
Yeah.
Energy drinks was a category.
Yes. Water's a category.
Water's a category.
Right? Packaged water's a category.
Somebody creates a blue ocean, pardon the pun, of a new category that's none of those things.
Yeah, so category design is essentially how you create your own market instead of competing in an existing one. And the way that is done is by focusing on a problem as opposed to on a brand, on a solution, on a service, on whatever. And then differentiating across as many levers as you can around this problem.
I don't know what a lever is. Tell me what a lever is.
Branding, distribution, go-to-market, right? Like different levers in business that you have to pull, right? Like operations, business model, pricing. Those are all different levers. Like if Mark Brower's Properties all of a sudden becomes the most expensive property management company in town by 5x, and it works, it's not because you're doing what everybody else is doing. It's because you have figured out a way to create new value based on your pricing differentiation in some way.
Okay.
Right, which I know speaks to you, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
How do you create value based on being different?
I think really, since you mentioned property management and because you mentioned pricing, I think the highest value adding property managers should be charging between $500 to $700 per month.
$500 $700.
Dollars per door per month.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. $500 to $700 per door per month. Where does that come from?
That comes from the idea that we're not only a real estate investment advisory wealth builder, asset manager, but also a property manager. Property manager should pay $200, $250 a month. If you're charging 1% asset management fee and actually providing the services commensurate with that, that's an additional $400 per month on average.
Yeah, assets under management model, which is popular in the financial advisory world. but it hasn't crossed over to the property management world. I promise you someone's going to crack it.
Someone's going to do it. So that's a category design.
That's a category design.
Okay.
Assets under
I'm
management.
all about that. I would love to figure that out.
You will love category design, bro. So let me explain. Let me talk you through Liquid Death, right? Liquid Death, the reason why. So the problem that they solve is how do you get healthy drinks into unhealthy environments? That is the true differentiation.
What?
At the absolute top.
Healthy drinks into unhealthy environments.
Yeah. So you don't drink. You don't go to bars.
No.
Or maybe you do. How do you feel when you order a glass of water at a bar? You feel ostracized? Like, do people or at a networking event, and if you have like a bottle of Dasani when everybody else has a scotch in their hand, you feel weird.
A little bit.
Right? And people look at you funny.
Yeah.
Right? These guys figured out that if you can put a ridiculous looking brand that looks like a craft beer or looks like an energy drink in a bar or at an extreme sports event, now people that don't feel like doing that thing are able to do it without feeling weird, right? So that's at the top. That's at the top of it, right? And the origin of the brand of the company is this guy Mark Cesario is ad agency creative dude. He was like the outrageous funny ad guy across his whole career at ad agencies, including VaynerMedia. And as a
VaynerMedia?
Gary Vee.
Oh, wow.
As the funny guy that likes to do stuff on the edge of things, I can promise you that when you are that creative and you're that out there, you don't get to do your best work. Right? Because you're like, dude, you know what you should do? You should call Mark Brower's property the F property management, right? Like, so
F you mother effer property management.
Like I really did pitch one of my clients, Matt Kleinrock. I pitched him. He's a exhibit booth builder, right? They're called an exhibit house. You build trade show booths, brand experiences. It's why I'm so dangerous at event marketing. Yeah, because I produce this podcast.
I met that guy, right?
No, I don't think
or was that?
No,
that was not the guy at the dinner.
No, that's a guy that I hired to help me do this. You know, I pitched Matt the first time I met him that his podcast should be called F Trade Shows, right? Like, because at the end of the day, his whole thing is like building a booth is a commodity. The whole thing is not the 3 days that you're in the show. It's the 362 days around the show that really matter for you to drive a result at a show, and you need to work with a strategist that gets you there.
That sounds like backwards thinking. Like
it's a pattern interrupt.
Which is a pattern interrupt. Okay,
so which is exactly what happens.
It's the contrarian thinking. So I'm gonna relate this to something Stephen Covey would say. He would say the best breakthroughs, the most meaningful breakthroughs in business or in life are break-withs. They break with what everybody else is thinking. They break with the common approach.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's accurate, right? So like this dude, Mike Cesario, funny, outrageous ad agency ad guy, has a dream his whole life. Is like, how can I enter a completely commoditized consumer space and just have my own ad agency that's really just like it's a product driven by an ad agency that does it. Looked across all sectors. First, looked in alcohol and all the stuff and beers. There's already all the outrageous brands.
So he didn't start with water. He started with, I want to do something.
Yeah.
And then he found the vertical.
He first found brandy, and he was like, well, brandy is the only place where everything looks the same in booze and doesn't have like a brand like this. Went into that, but at the end of the day, the alcohol market.
I don't understand what you're saying right now.
So brandy is a type of liquor,
oh yeah. Okay.
Right? Started with
as I said, branding.
Yeah, with brandy.
Okay.
Started with brandy as a type of liquor. Went in there and then realized for alcohol, there's so many legal hurdles and blah blah blah. Branding comes way later on. Right?
I see.
So then he was like, how can I shortcut this? He found water, right? Every other water brand in the world, liquid, like it's all about purity.
It's all clouds and it's blue and it's like the ocean. It's a spring. It's like
yeah, correct. So he's like, okay, bet this is.
Or somebody got really audacious and they put it in a box.
Yeah,
water in a box.
Box water. Yeah, correct. They tried doing this, but they did not radically differentiate across more than one thing. They were just like, we're a box and we're recyclable.
We put it in a box, guys.
They didn't go all in on this like insight of like, how can we be as different as possible in a space where everybody's the same outside of just putting it in a carton.
And okay, but just inherent to the idea of like, how can we be as different as possible? That could be done a million ways wrong, right? Yeah. Just being different doesn't make you valuable, right? Cool. So there's an intersection of like extremely different and extremely brilliant. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, so what's the important part? Just being different?
I think it all stacks into how you tell a story at the top around this problem, right? Like this is in category design, it's the spine of the category design. It's called the point of view narrative, right?
What?
The point of view narrative.
The point of view?
POV.
Point of view narrative.
Narrative.
You're telling a story from a point of view.
Yes, you're telling a story. So the difference between a point of view narrative and like a mission statement or like a vision statement or whatever is that it has a perspective on things. It starts with, this is the way that the world is. These are the problems with it. This is how the world is changing, and this is what will make the problem worse. And these are the symptoms of how we're all feeling it right now. But what if we thought about it like this? And if we thought about it like this, the world would look like this, and these problems wouldn't exist.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So it's like, okay, most of us are thinking about life this way, but what if we turned that on its head in this way and made problems go away or change? Yeah. But what does that have to do with water? Like we're not changing the world with water, right?
If you can start telling a narrative around there are all these places where people wish that like, first of all, there's a giant trend that's happening, right? The category formula is change in context creates a new missing, which can lead to a new innovation.
So walk me through those three things. Yes. What is change in context?
Change in context. Gen Z is not into booze.
Is that real?
That's real. Gen Z and Gen Alpha
Good for Gen Z.
are not into booze. Well, they're doing more mushrooms and whatever, and like cannabis and whatever, right? But like they're just less into getting wasted, man. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, they're just like there is a generational trend, right? Like the biggest like beer brand kind of like venture capital success case in the world is a non-alcoholic one that just bought Ballast Point, which was the last good one. Yeah, it's called Athletic.
Wow.
Right? So that's a really, really big trend.
Interesting.
Right? So Gen Z, Gen Alpha, all these generational shifts are happening.
So that's a change in context.
Yeah, that's a change in context.
Some huge trend starts emerging, and someone has the vision, by the way, to see that this trend is coming, and then it's going to like it's rolling like a wave, but it's just rising up right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Which creates a new missing. The new missing can be two different things.
The new missing.
New missing. Right. So So if we're here and we move into this area. Now there's either a vacuum over here or there's like a new a new problem to be solved over here, right?
I see.
So the new missing is either a new problem that someone hasn't defined yet, or it's a solution to an old problem that is now, so a new problem that gets created by this shift.
Yes.
That's one new missing. Or this shift now creates a solution to an old problem that we used to just think we had to deal with.
Interesting.
Right? AI, property management, right?
Yes.
Forever, property management has been a task-based business.
You're doing a task.
Yes. Your value...
Thankless job.
Yes. Your value comes from your ability to do all these tasks that nobody really wants to do.
With high competence.
Yes.
You're a punching bag for both sides.
Yes. You're a punching bag for both sides. Now, the new promise of AI is the idea that the majority of these tasks can be done in a way that, like 80 to 85%, for example, for us, 80 to 85% of maintenance can now just be like done. An AI receptionist can take the call, it can triage it, it can help you troubleshoot via text or whatever to like solve it, or it can diagnose it, create a work order, right? Or it can escalate to an emergency.
I'm not drawing a connection.
Okay, to what?
Not that there isn't one. Yeah. Help me see. When you describe the contextual shift of Gen Z, Gen Alpha moving away from booze.
Yeah, okay.
Like to me, okay, now I'm connecting this idea that there's a societal trend.
Yes.
Okay, and it's a big one, and it's going to create a big missing.
Yeah.
Okay, when I'm thinking about AI and property management, I missed the piece like what shifted, like just the fact that a new technology came out shifted society somehow.
No, three things have shifted in property management. Property management 5 years ago, very few people had an opinion on it, right? People didn't even talk about
opinion on what?
On it. On people.
I had an opinion 5 years ago.
Outside of the property management industry, very few people did, right? Like
nobody cares about
nobody cares about it, but the affordability crisis and like Wall Street buying up all these properties and interest rates going up have now brought a whole bunch of regulatory pressure and a whole bunch of opinions on this industry of rental property investing that before just didn't exist.
Okay,
That's one shift.
Context shift. Let me restate that in my words so that I can see if we're connecting on this. Context shift is housing affordability shifted.
Yeah.
Living preference shifted.
Yeah.
Institution money figured out how to buy single-family residentials in mass. Shifted. Right?
What else?
You know what else shifted is the haves and the have-nots in society
getting stratified.
have grown even more polarized,
Yep.
which is now putting additional pressure and visibility on the role of landlord.
Yep.
You know what? Can I digress really quick?
Please.
I have this vision of these ads, like this ad campaign I would love to run,
Yes.
where the landlord rides up on a horse in a suit of armor, knocks on the door, and asks for the rent. And the dude's like, I paid it on the portal. Mark Brower Properties makes it easy. Well, I'm the landlord, you know.
I'm the lord of this land. I love it.
Dude, get off my property.
I
I have quiet enjoyment rights.
Yeah, yeah.
Slams the door.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, anyway, let's go
I
back.
claim my noble rights to your rents this month.
Plants a flag in the front yard. Yeah. Landlord.
We should do this.
We should do this.
We should do this. Okay. That's one shift.
Okay.
Second shift, great generational wealth transfer. The owner of these properties is changing.
Yeah, but has it happened yet? Or it's coming?
It's happening. It's been happening, right? Like these data, we're at the beginning of a giant wave of that.
Okay, so the baby boomers who control all the wealth, they control all the real estate, they are...
Giving those properties to people like us.
They're giving the properties... I've had several clients hire me in this scenario.
That's happening.
Where,
and we're at the beginning of that wave. That's a 20-year wave that's going to happen.
That's a 20-year wave.
All millennials will go through this, right?
Okay, and so that's a context.
That's a context shift.
And it creates a shift.
Yeah.
Because now we got a bunch of like, I never wanted this property.
Isn't there an app for this?
Wait, but it's getting transferred to people my age, right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't born with a
And my
cell
age.
phone connected to my umbilical cord, right? You know, so
Sure, but how much easier it is for you to recover your lost password than your parents or your grandparents?
way easier.
Right? Like
I use LastPass.
when is the last time did you ever how many checks have you cut in your life? Like for me
as few as possible.
As few as possible. As few as possible,
as few
right?
as possible. I don't want a checkbook.
I was born in 1980. By the time I started a bank account, my freshman year of college, I was paying all my bills on my bank account online. It just was, right?
Yeah.
So, the idea of we have, yes, we weren't born with the internet, but like we are very like used to finding the information of whatever we need online at all times, right? 100%. So like the idea of like, how's my property doing, and you not having an instant answer, and like, where's my paperwork for all my stuff? Can't I just download it right now?
Sign it electronically.
That's something that wasn't required 100% until very recently, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Context shift. Customer has changed. They have different preferences.
Yes.
Right? So opinion from the outside has changed. War on profit, what Jay Barabee calls it, right? Like,
yes.
Right, that's happening. Context change. Customer has different preferences. You better not ask me to get on a phone call if I don't need to get on a phone call. Dude, you better not ask me to come into the office to sign something.
It's a high conflict situation. If I actually have to talk live with you, if you're providing a service to me and I have to talk live with you, or heaven forbid, drive down to a physical location, are you kidding me?
God forbid.
Like, this is a big problem.
Yeah, right? Context shift. You missing.
Whereas the old generation was like, hey, if I don't hear from you, even if things are okay, we don't have a relationship because I need to see the whites of your eyes and I need to like have an on.
And I'll come down to the office, sign a couple papers.
Don't need it. Don't want it.
Don't want it.
Like, it's like a total pain in my ass.
Right?
All right.
Right? And now context shift, completely new tooling via AI. Right? So if you
how is the new tooling via AI context shift? Because everybody now, dude, I can't remember the last time I typed something into Google. I'm telling you right now. Yeah. Like, I don't search and like.
Sure, we're at the baby beginning of this.
My
now.
dad, who's 78,
yeah,
has, when you open a new browser on his Chrome, it opens ChatGPT.
Yeah,
like, this is what's happening.
Yeah, so that's step one. I mean, remember when like you used to just like log into AOL every day.
Never did it.
Like whatever, right?
Nah.
We're at the beginning of this context shift, and I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but like AI doubles in capacity every 6 months, right? That is widely known. Before AI, we were under something called Moore's Law. Have you ever heard of Moore's Law?
Isn't it like...
It's the idea that computing power doubles in capacity every 2 years.
Two? Okay.
Every 2 years. So from the dawn of personal computing
my gosh.
till now, every 2 years has done this. If you think about the world 20 years ago, 2005, you're like, should I buy Google AdWords or should I just buy this like Yellow Page ad?
Yeah, totally.
Smartphones don't exist. Facebook doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right? That's 2005 to 2025, 20 years. Now think about the difference between doubling every 2 years and doubling every 6 months. Cut it by a quarter. That means that in 5 years,
Are we doubling every 6 months now?
the capacity of AI doubles every 6 months. You see a new model, you see a new thing every 6 months.
Can I pause right here and say something that just blows my mind? When I heard a stat that the AI is projected to use so much computing power
Yeah.
that it's gonna it's gonna increase the power demands of our country by like 50%.
That's another context shift.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Do you know how much computing power that is? I don't know how much.
That means Meta will have to build a nuclear reactor.
It's crazy.
We will have to find a way
When I
for
drive
private companies to build nuclear reactors.
20 minutes from where we're sitting right now,
Yeah.
if I took you on the 202 freeway out towards Queen Creek, you would see massive warehouse after warehouse after warehouse after warehouse, and they're either data centers or Amazon fulfillment centers.
Yep.
That's it, man. So we're going to have to 50% increase our energy production in the face of population collapse, context shift, because of AI.
And job collapse.
Wow.
Right? So those are other context shifts. They also affect us too, right?
Yeah.
But when you pair those three big context shifts into property management, that's the game I'm playing right now.
Yeah,
right?
for
Like
sure.
that's the game Vendoroo is playing right now.
For sure.
Right? Like the difference, the future will inherently be way different than the past. And the ways that we create value for the market will be completely different.
I think
this is why you and I get along so well.
I think most people can buy into this narrative that we're talking about right now because our minds were collectively blown when we saw ChatGPT for the first time.
Yep.
And the reality was it already existed. The large language models existed, but the public wasn't able to interface with them. Once we were able to interface with them, our minds were blown and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the dawn of a new age.
The interface was the wrapper.
Okay.
I hate interrupting this episode because it's so good. It's one of my favorite conversations. But, like if you're really looking to capitalize on these context shifts, if you're listening to this, it's like, I really want to differentiate. Right now, it is the moment where you can do both with AI, right? Like you are still early enough to say, I'm the most AI company out there, and it'd be a total differentiator for you. And you jump on this context shift, right? And I really am starting to understand that like the AI jumping on that first is kind of like the lever that opens other things, right? Like we had the recent podcast with Mark Cunningham talking about how like the moment that he could invest in a employee to do this one thing for him, he could go off and build a business. AI is the same way. If you can invest in AI right now, it's going to open up the capacity for you to then, do the things that you've been wanting to do in the business. And like one of the places where people most get stuck is in maintenance, right? Like the unpredictable ambulatory nature of it makes it really, really hard to free yourself up. And that's what we've been solving for here at Vendoroo. We have clients that have automated 85 to 95% of all their maintenance touch points. What does that mean? It means that each work order has like 17 to 19 human touch points. And when you have an AI voice that takes a call and can create a work order or elevate it to an emergency, when you have a triage troubleshooting agent that like the moment that something is wrong at someone's house, they can start texting with them, receiving pictures, figuring out what's wrong, help them troubleshoot it and eliminate that work order, or create the perfect work order that a vendor is going to really, really understand and love and want to show up for, and then assign that vendor and have that ready to go in the morning, even if it's like 9:30 at night. You really start eliminating all these touch points. We also have agents that coordinate the visit between the vendor and the resident, right? Like what time are you showing up, following up with both, making sure they're available, getting the right paperwork, creating the report for you. So if you want to do that, you want to open up that capacity, jump on a call with us, go to vendoroo.ai and see how we can eliminate 85, 95% of your maintenance touch points so you can open up capacity to do all the stuff that you want to do. Go to vendoroo.ai.
I want to just pause really quick and talk about the naysayers. I want to talk about the people that say, well, you shouldn't be talking about something unless it's proven. How arrogant are you to have some idea that you don't have the experience to be talking about and you don't have the actual proof.
You don't have the receipts
that it's working. We just went through how a context shift
shift
creates a new missing And then what happens? Some visionary comes in.
Well,
I was talking about detractors. I was going on my
you
little
were talking
rant.
about the audacity of somebody that hasn't been doing this for 25 years to have an opinion on this.
Yeah, I don't even want to waste any time on talking about somebody like that. So, but yeah, the reality is the future belongs to the dreamers. The future belongs to the people who are audacious, who break with the norm. The future belongs to the people who try new things.
Yeah.
And there will always be naysayers and detractors and negative Nancys and whatever, right?
Yeah, listen, you said this makes sense to everybody or most people, and honestly, you're wrong, man. Like, most people think of the past and then make a version of the future based on the past.
Can we talk about this? This is really important.
Yeah.
I had a mentor once that said, he's like, this guy runs a very successful business in town. I was honored to be mentoring under him through Entrepreneur Organization at one time. And we had a monthly meeting, small group.
I know you.
Okay. So he would say, when I approach a problem, he's like, I only and firstly think about the clearest picture of the solution that I can envision. Mm-hmm. And I hold that in my mind.
Yeah.
And I don't, and until that's really clear, I'm not even thinking of the how at all. I'm going to get this locked in.
Yeah.
And there's something brilliant, there's something magical that happens when we dare to do that. Mm-hmm. Because, like you said, our brains are wired for whatever reason. I don't know if it's social conditioning, I don't know if it's like the
Cognitive
education
bias,
system,
recency
whatever
bias,
it is.
yeah.
But we're conditioned to approach a problem like a crossroads and then say, well, what are my options? That's the wrong question. The right question is, and by the way, you want to level up your thinking, you want to level up your leadership, you want to level up your influence, ask different questions. Yes. Questions are so powerful. The question is not, well, what are my options? Shrugging our shoulders, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, what are my options? Oh, that's the least worst, so I'm going to go with that one. No, the question is, what's the clearest picture of the ideal fantasy outcome that I would want to have? And then the bravery comes in, right? Because it requires bravery and audacity to hold this vision without all the fiery arrows of, well, that's not possible because, like getting slinged at it, like in your brain, right? Or by other people. Mm-hmm. Hold this long enough and sit with it long enough until, not if, until the path becomes clear to get there. And that path is the innovative path. That path is the thing nobody thought of before. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they weren't willing to get really clear about where they're going, and they weren't willing to be brave enough and audacious and persistent enough to not compromise on that thing. I'm going to say no to everything else until the path to that reveals. That's leadership, that's innovation, that's creation.
The brain is a problem-solving machine. If you focus on the problem, right? Like if you focus on the outcome you want to create and take repetitive action, you'll get there, man.
Eventually.
Right? Like, you'll get there eventually, as long as you don't stop.
Be relentless.
As long as you don't stop, right? As long as you don't stop, you'll get there.
Just like a metaphor for the Grand Canyon, dude. Like
I'm in. I'm thinking about it too. I'm just, as you were talking about it, I was like, yeah, I just gotta see myself on the top of the South Rim and like continue to move towards it.
That's it.
And not convince myself that, because I haven't trained, I can't do it, blah, 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 and all these things, right? So I'm with you. And it's also, this is exactly what my career has been, man. Like I 10 years ago, I was almost 10 years, 10 years ago and 6 months, almost exactly. January 3rd, 2015. I'm in a dead end kind of spot in my career in construction. I feel like I have fallen upwards many, many times, right? Because I can talk and I'm talented and I got a personality and whatever, right? But I was never impassioned. I knew enough to get into. I got into green building. I started a green building consulting business. I then went in-house for my biggest client as director of sustainability. I was making 6 figures doing something cool that I cared about. But then when they sold that company and they, the people that took it over were like, what do you do? Right? And I had no career there. I was like, I need to become more valuable, right? I started thinking, how can I become more valuable? And luckily I had formed through other experience because I got really involved in nonprofits and I developed all these kind of the idea of you build relationships by adding value is something that I had recently just learned. And it wasn't, I build relationships by being the funniest guy in the room, which was what my trick was for the first 20 years.
Well, that's a value.
Sure. but I as I saw myself sitting with the board of directors, with like presidents of banks and the superintendent of schools, I was like, my Ace Ventura shtick has diminishing returns from henceforth. Now that I'm 30, right?
Okay.
And then January 3rd was my brother's funeral, and I'm sitting in this church, and 1,200 people show up, and I realize that while I've had this very complicated relationship with the Catholic Church since I'm like 14, I look around my parish and I say, these people carried us through the hardest times of our lives. They're carrying us in the hardest moment of our life. This can only be accomplished by being part of a community. There's nothing more valuable than community. And I can never leave this community no matter how I feel about the church. And whoop, that just solved for a classic churn case, right? Like I had one foot out of the church for 20 years. And at that moment, I'm like, I'm never not going to be part of this in some way, ever again, right? And from there on out, I have the problem in my head has been, okay, this is a business result. How do we apply community, right? Like the model of organized religion is community creation for business development, right? Like there is no coincidence.
Say that again.
Like the model of organized religion is the model to follow for community creation for business development. It's not a coincidence.
That's why you use the word evangelist.
No, I use the word evangelist because it came for a different reason, but it's the reason why the word evangelist also works.
Yes.
It's the same thing, right? Like it is, you're evangelizing a problem. Hey, how do we get into heaven?
I see.
Right? Like
I see.
how do we get into heaven?
I see.
Right? And how do we surround you with the people that you need to follow the righteous path in order to find salvation?
Okay, I want to tie this back to liquid death somehow.
We will, yeah.
But I also am fascinated by this idea of community, and this idea that somebody said, I'm sure we could look up the quote. Yeah. Somebody said at one point, it kind of stuck in my head, that the best businesses are half business, half religion.
Yeah, or half cult followings.
Half cult followings, half like, because, and to put this in the framework that my business coach shares with me, he's drilled it in my head over and over and over. Enrollment is everything.
Enrollment, not transaction.
He said enrollment is everything. Like he just says it so many times that he's like, Mark, you are enrolled at a level 7. Yeah. Nobody else in your organization is enrolled at a level 7. Yeah. Probably nobody else is at a level 6 either.
Yeah.
Here's what levels 3, 4, 5, and 6 look like. Yeah. Enrollment is everything. Yeah. Who would walk through a brick wall for you? Mm-hmm. Who gets to the point where they're like, I promise the mission will be accomplished. I personally promise this mission will be accomplished, even if there's no pay, even if there's a significant obstacle. That's a religious zeal that you can see different levels of that in different organizations. Yes. Okay, but is that comment on point? Does that have to do with community?
100%. This is why category design became so relevant to me the moment I read.
Because
what I recognized in community, in the communities that I built around the nonprofits, in the community of the church, and in the businesses that I realized I've been using this, right? Like nobody buys a Harley Davidson and then buys a Honda motorcycle 2 years later.
No,
right?
You don't do it.
Nobody moves away.
You are in the cult.
You're in the cult,
dude. If you drive a Jeep, you are driving a Jeep and you've got ducks on the front dash.
Apple,
I don't know
Salesforce.
What that has to do with.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have ducks on your dash, but if you drive a Jeep, you know what the duck thing is.
Correct. They all have similarities. And when I saw category design be like open sourced as a discipline in this book, and they said, hey, this wins with a point of view narrative, and like he who can define the problem the best will be known to have the best solution. And the way that you do this and you get people to follow you is by evangelizing a problem nonstop. Everything made sense to me.
You evangelize a problem nonstop. And he who has the best narrative about the problem
will be known to have the solution.
Will be known to have the solution.
Yeah.
Well, that blows my mind right now. So
if you go to a doctor and you tell them, doctor, I haven't slept well and I have a headache, and they're like, take 2 of these and call me in the morning, they're like, that was great. If the doctor's like, oh, let me ask you something else. Does your left foot tingle? And you're like, yeah.
That has to do with resonance. Is it because there's this emotional need for humans to know that, hey, someone gets me, someone resonates with my problem, they understand this problem maybe even better than I do. Yeah. Now they have my trust.
Hence the need for a story, because you need resonance. You need someone to tell you, like you need like that point of view narrative that I just told you. When I say the world is like this, you're like, yeah. And you're like, and it hurts like this, and you're like, yeah. And the world is turning, like this is happening and it's going to make this stuff worse. So like, yeah. Right, like now you have my attention.
You know what? This is triggering another thought. I read Pete Carroll's book "Win Forever" recently, And Pete Carroll, one of the winningest football coaches ever,
Yeah.
right, was with USC. They went with the Dolphins, I think, and not the Dolphins.
Seahawks.
Seahawks, yeah.
I wish the Dolphins.
And Pete Carroll, brilliant. Like, he talks about principled thinking and all this stuff, and like it took him decades to articulate his philosophy, to understand and arrive at his philosophy. Maybe we could use the word story. Maybe we could say that was him understanding the problem way better than anybody else.
Yeah.
He understood, like he was able to articulate.
I'll give you other words. That's his way. A philosophy is your way of framing, naming, and claiming a problem.
Framing, naming, and claiming
Right?
a problem.
Like a philosophy is like, hey,
Yes.
it looks like this,
Yes.
and these are the ways that it happens, and this is the way
Yes.
that you avoid it.
And he said, and this is how we win.
And this
Here's
is how
the
we win.
philosophy for winning.
Yeah.
And he said he couldn't stop there. He said he also had to develop the skill of articulating his philosophy, which is the storytelling. But once he was able to do both of those things, then the recipe just worked.
Yeah.
He was able to win in his own unique, audacious way, using his
And
God-given
he's a unique
gifts
dude,
and talents.
right? Like he is very different than everybody
And so-
else, and he leaned into that different
There you
every
go.
moment he could.
There you go. So
Yeah.
actually, I think one of the most beautiful things about business and in life and solving problems in general is there's no one way to do it. And we each have a unique ability, a unique persona, a unique character that we can bring to a problem that can be completely different than everybody else.
Yep.
And who's to say that we're not able to, and the naysayers over here are like, well, you haven't proven it enough, and you didn't ask our permission over here.
Yep.
We know how to do this over here. No. To heck with all that, right? There can be a break with that's unique, that honors your own voice in only the way that you could see that problem, and it can be a beautiful thing.
Your voice and your insights, right? Like we all come from different things, right? And we are built up of uniquely different experiences that allows us to see things in a certain way and qualifies us to solve it in a certain way, right? So kind of like the key to it, for me, personal success, and I think as a company this is applicable too, is like, how do you take the unique insights that you have and the unique qualifications that you have to attack the one problem that you can attack in only a way that you can do it, right? And those companies that do that are category kings.
That's a unique ability.
Yeah.
Dan Sullivan talks about it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Those are the category kings. Those are the people where your company becomes the verb.
So this idea of that unique ability and leaning into your gifts and talents and really just like solving problems and not having to ask other people for permission and not having to have it like fit the mold of how everybody's done it before. This sometimes, and I know we're getting a little off topic, but maybe we would talk about this in a different session. This unique ability path here, this creative, this creation, this like honoring who I am and solving this problem in my way, like somehow has to coalesce with principled thinking. There are principles that when we understand them and we can apply our unique character to them, the amalgam of those two things is what forges an effective path. Because you can be audacious and unique and quirky and bold in your own way, but not understand and master the principles. And you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, and I think this goes back to the original question you said with like going back to liquid death. It's like, how do you know that different isn't just different for the sake of different, as opposed to like this way that creates an advantage, right? Like it comes down to the insights that you have based on, you know, like your unique experiences with the problem and the understanding and like being able to do it. This is by the way the role of the chief evangelist. My job is to be in market to make sure that our insights and your expectations align with the way that we see the problem, the way that we're going to solve this thing. Right?
Otherwise what?
Otherwise, I just got blue hair for attention.
But if there's no alignment, there's no, what do?
You don't gain traction.
Because that wasn't the right fit customer, or because our philosophy was fundamentally flawed?
It was one or the other, man. Like, are there other fit customers for this philosophy? Maybe, or am I wrong? Like,
you know what's incredible to me? Like, you only have to be right for a very, very, very small group of people. You can niche way down, and then somehow tap into a vein of gold that on the other side of it spreads out exponentially.
Yeah. I'll give you an example, man. If you were to create the property management company for people that love dogs, right? Now, and let's say you create the most like dog-friendly tenant agreements in the business. That seems like BS, right? That doesn't seem like a business model until you start layering in all the other like services to a flywheel that would come with that. right? Like maybe you develop, maybe there's a $1 billion opportunity in creating like the right size data for like a real insurance plan that makes sense for a world that, by the way, wants more dogs because we want more companionship. Maybe you also develop a dog grooming service and a dog sitting service for when your tenants are traveling, and you create this marketplace for doing that adds to the flywheel of what you're doing. And now you're not just a property management business, you're a flywheel like Amazon that doesn't just make money selling you books anymore, they sell you internet. They sell logistics. They have many people that are building platforms off their ecosystem in a very small way, right? Like so the more that you niche in, this idea that the internet, giant context shift, has uncorked our ability to connect with exactly whom.
And the AI algorithms are like exploding this,
Yeah,
right? Like
correct.
Gary Vee says, you don't have to have a huge audience anymore. You just have to create the content.
Yeah.
And the algorithm finds the people. If it's good enough, the algorithm will find the people, and you'll grow exponentially. I once watched this YouTube video where it's like the guy was talking about like, hey, when we're young, all we are is potential, and it's like the world is our oyster, and you can do anything, right? And then eventually we intern or we apprentice, right? And then we kind of choose something, and then we get down to this point of like total focus, and then it's like on the other end of that, like everything opens up again. That's a journey from like a young person, right? In life.
From potential to capacity.
But it's but it's also like a journey that a brand or a company or a professional can go through when you dare to lean into your unique approach. Gary Vee's like, well, if you want to smurf it up, you smurf it up. That's when he went viral. It's like, that's the thing where it's like you lean into your thing and you feel confident, bold enough, and you don't just whitewash that, and you don't just like pretend like you have to fit in like some lemming to the corporate cog in a wheel. But you say, hey, this is who I am. This is how I solve the problem. And
you continue to lean into that problem, you can keep stacking value on top of that problem, right? So let's talk about Liquid Death.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
This guy, Insight. The world wants to drink less unhealthy drinks, right? Like the energy drink craze.
Did he start with that? Or he just discovered that as he decided to go with water?
I'm not 100%.
Because he started with rum or brandy.
Yeah, correct. He is, I don't know if now he's retelling it in a different way, right?
It's recasting
but
a story.
At the end of the day, listen, his unique abilities, he's like, I know how to make funny commercials, right? And I know how to make outrageous ideas come to life in a story.
And the marketing people rule the world.
Right? Yeah, agreed. So you're able to, right?
do.
Like, dude, look at our government right now.
They do.
Right? Like,
if you run the propaganda machine, you run the world.
Yeah.
Full stop.
True.
The power brokers and the propagandists run the world.
Napoleon was an unbelievable propagandist. So was Alexander the Great. So was Julius Caesar. Right? Like, this is as old as time, right? So
I picked the wrong focus in college. I studied economics.
I did too. And I think that I am a way better marketer because I never studied marketing. Because I studied economics, behavioral economics, psychology, how the brain works. I studied influence my whole life without getting tainted. Like, sure, maybe if I knew how to like create an awesome CRM and like plug a couple web plugins, I'd be more powerful, but I can hire for that.
No, you wouldn't.
Right? Like I understand how to influence way better, right? And to me, category design is the greatest industrial level framework for influence I have ever seen, which is why I'm in love with it, right? So, Liquid Death. This dude starts a water brand under the premise that there's going to be a growing demand for water in places where energy drinks and beer rules, right? Also, plastic is evil. Right, like we are becoming way more. We're becoming way.
And all the water's in plastic.
Yeah, and all the water's in plastic because it's clear.
Or one dude put it in a box.
And it's pure or whatever, right? By the way, not everybody wants to be talked to like a yogi, right? Like people like entertainment. People like storytelling and to be outrageous in these commercials. And he understands that he has this innate skill set. So he's out there. He's out there trying to fundraise for this idea of like completely differentiated water blend in a plastic in a can. Doesn't get any traction with that, right? Runs one Facebook ad that grows 90,000 followers, starts getting orders for it preemptively. And now guess what? Now he's got funding for it, right?
Yes.
So that opened it up. That opened it up for him. And let me tell you about all his levels of differentiation as he leans into this problem. Number one, solving a different problem. Right, healthy drinks in unhealthy environments has allowed him to create a completely distribution system because if he wanted to go compete with Dasani and Aquafina, aka Coke and Pepsi,
They have
in
the
supermarkets,
distribution channels
they own
locked
the supermarkets
down.
and they own concert venues.
Yes.
Right? This dude realized that beer distributors, beer brands can only control 33% of their distribution. So 66% of it is done by independent distributors that are always looking for new things to put into their truck that they can sell through to their channel to bars. And now he can go to these dudes and be like, hey, put this in your truck, because now bars can make money off of water, because that is happening, right? And like, people are not going to feel weird. They're going to do it, right? So that's distribution differentiation.
Wow.
Also, differentiation went direct to consumer first through these ads, and then got Whole Foods that he doesn't have to compete with Coke and Pepsi because of the death to plastic messaging.
Nice.
Right? So distribution completely differentiated has an advantage there. The brand thing, right? What is the number one thing that we just said? We saw it, we had a reaction, it creates word of mouth. I have never carried this bottle around. Like, anybody drinking a Liquid Death always has somebody ask him what it is. It creates word of mouth.
And then they're proud to be aligned with the brand. Like, I like having the can in my hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why not?
I love carrying this thing around.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's a cool brand.
It's a cool brand.
It has something to do with me as a person now.
Yeah. It's a pattern interrupt. It creates a conversation. It creates identity around, like, oh, I'm smart enough to tell you the story every time you tell me you love my bottle, right? Business model. Yes, these guys figured out packaging and distribution, but their core business model is an ad agency. They're an ad agency that is playing CPG product creator, right? Like, that's what they do.
CPG.
Consumer packaged goods, right? So they're really an ad agency that has brands attached, that has like this distribution or whatever attached to it, right? So their core business model
just so good at telling the story.
It's profoundly different. Revenue streams. Their merch is a real revenue stream for them. I've bought like $300 worth of merch. I've bought like maybe 4 bottles of actual Liquid Death water or whatever in my life, right? And they've done it by creating, first of all, through the ads, and they've created these like collaborations with these brands. They do like product drops the same way that Nike does with shoes, or the same way that Supreme does.
In the desert where I'm running a race.
Yeah.
Product drop.
Yeah, product drop. They also, this dude was a skateboarder and whatever, so and a musician. So like, they went in like really deep during COVID, supporting musicians and being at these festivals and being at these events, right? So that's another.
Hence the commercial I saw where they had like a legit, like really good singer singing a song about their hate reviews.
How great is that? How great is that? Right? So they just lean into it at every moment. Packaging is a differentiator. Now they're not in the water aisle. They're in a different aisle by themselves, right? Like, now they're seen completely different. They're transported completely differently, right? So like, all these different levers of differentiation add up to the only brand to ever cross over categories and become $1 billion thing in 3 years. All around solving this one problem, around this like change that's happening, and these insights of the people that are changing this way. They just don't need the old status quo, and now they're a giant success case.
It's incredible.
Right? Oh, by the way, this guy did not spend any time working for consumer packaged goods before this. He did not run a watering facility.
Wait, he didn't ask permission? He didn't ask permission from Pepsi and Coke?
Did not.
Like, can I join?
Or Evian.
Can I join the club?
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Correct. So
don't care.
It doesn't generally come from inside the machine, man. It comes from outside the machine.
Yeah,
that
people
creates
don't
these
like that.
exponential
People don't
results.
like that. They don't like the solutions come from the outside. They want you to show up and wait in line and take a number and then like say, hey, which of these 5 options do you want? Because that's all there is. No, shut up, be quiet, get back in line.
Yeah, true. So
that's cool, man.
So that's category design.
There's a lot more for me to learn about category design, but I'm inspired.
I'm gonna start sending you stuff.
That's good. That's so good.
Yeah.